All right, guys, so last time we were in person together on Wednesday, we went through and looked at these examples together of compound probability. And we talked about times when we have independent probability, like in this first example where we're flipping a coin and rolling a number cube, and those are independent events because the answer that we get when we flip a coin doesn't change the answer that we're going to get when we roll a dice. But then in our second example, with our bag of marbles, it's dependent because if we're not replacing, right, if we're not going to replace that coin after we pull it from the bag, then it's dependent. That means that if we don't replace this marble that we pull from the bag, then in our second event, it depends on it changes depending on not returning that marble. So we went from 10 total marbles, but we didn't put that blue marble back, so now we only have 9 marbles. All right. And then in our third example here, it was also a dependent event because not only were we not replacing that blue marble, but then we were drawing another blue marble. And so there were 2 blue marbles and 10 total marbles, but we took that blue marble away. So now the second event of drawing another blue marble, there's only 1 blue marble remaining and only 9 total marbles in the bag. All right. So we did that first example of multiplying the math times the coin flip together. So let's move on to number 2. And I think a lot of you got a really good start on these, but let's go through and do a couple of these together and get a few set up for you. And then you'll finish the rest today as best you can and submit what you have done by the end of the period. All right, so for our first one here, when we have a number cube and it is rolled twice, what is the probability of getting 6 on the first roll and then a number less than 5 on the second? So remember, always highlight what are your 2 events. Right now, we're just focusing on 2 events, okay? So an event is something that's happening. So we're getting 6 on a first roll, right? So that's event 1. And then we're going to get a number less than 5 on the second roll. So these are 2 different events. We roll one number cube. We multiply it times the probability when we roll a second number cube. All right, now the next thing to remember is that we're always putting our number possible, right, over our total number of things. So that number possible is like, what are they specifying, right? So this first one is the probability of getting 6 when we roll a number cube. Well, a number cube always has 6 sides, no matter what. We can't get rid of one of the sides, okay? So we have 6 sides on a number cube. And so it wants to know what's the probability of getting a 6. Well, there's only one side that's a 6. So the probability is just 1 out of a total of 6 sides. And then we're going to multiply that times a number less than 5 on the second roll. So if I think about it, my number cube has the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, the number 4, the number 5, and the number 6. Well, the numbers that are less than 5 are 1 through 4. So that means for our second event, we have 4 sides that are less than 5 out of a total of 6 sides. All right, so we multiply that straight across. 1 times 4 is 4. 6 times 6 is 36. And then you can either reduce your fraction. So 36, you've got 2 and 18 if we divide by 2, and then 1 to 9. Or you can do just dividing your fraction. 4 divided by 36 on your calculator, and you would get 0.111, which equals 11.1%. So remember, you could have either one of those or your fully reduced fraction as your answer. All right, so a lot of you got started with this one, and this one was a little bit trickier. A bag contains 50 lottery balls numbered 1 to 50. A ball is chosen at random, and then a month of the year is selected. What is the probability of choosing a multiple of 3 and then a month starting with the letter M? Well, if we have 50 lottery balls, right? We have a total of 50 lottery balls, and we're going to multiply our 50 lottery balls times our month. Those are our two, probability of choosing a multiple of 3, and then the probability of choosing a month that starts with the letter M. Those are our two events, okay? So we have 50 total lottery balls, and so we're going to figure out how many are a multiple of 3. And I circled them in red for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 are circled in red. And we're going to multiply that times a month, the number of months starting with the letter M. Well, there are 12 months altogether in a year. And let's see how many start with M. 1, 2. So 2 out of 12. All right, and then you guys would multiply straight across. 16 times 2 is going to give us 32, and 50 times 12 is going to give us 600. So I'm just going to multiply. I could do my reducing, right, and get it down and reduce my fraction. I'm just going to divide. 32 divided by 600, and that will give me 0.053, which will equal 5.3%. All right, so let's get another couple set up, and then you'll finish solving. So Kaylee has 1 red, 3 blue, 2 brown, 5 black, 1 purple, and 4 pairs of pink flip-flops in her closet. All right, assuming she always replaces them, so that's important information. She's gonna always replace her flip-flops at the end of the day. What is the probability that she will choose a pair of blue on Monday and then a pair of pink on Tuesday? All right, so she's choosing a blue pair on Monday and then a pink pair on Tuesday. All right, so those are our two events, blue and pink. Okay, 2 events. And then when we are ready, we're going to multiply these, the probability of pulling a blue pair times the probability of pulling a pink pair. All right, so let's take a look for our blue pair times our pink pair. So the first thing we have to do, guys, is figure out how many total pairs, right? Because we're always putting our total amount on the bottom over our possible choices on the top. So I'm going to add all these together. 1 plus 3 plus 2 plus 5 plus 1 plus 4. So take a second and add those up. All right, and then when you add all those up, you're going to get 16 total pairs of flip-flops. So that means we have 16 total pairs. And since she is always replacing her pairs, we're going to have 16 total pairs on both days, because she's going to take that blue pair, put them back on Monday night when she gets home from school, and then on Tuesday, she's got 16 pairs again, okay? All right, so let's first look at our first event, which is the blue pair. So blue is 3. So there are 3 possible blue pairs out of a total of 16 that she could pick. And then we've got a pink pair and pink, four pairs of pink flip-flops. So we've got 4 pairs of pink flip-flops there. All right, so you're going to go ahead, multiply, and reduce to find the probability. All right, let's try another one together. So Sam is fishing in a pond that was just stocked with 32 bluegill, 49 catfish, 27 bass, and 12 carp. He catches a fish, he releases it, and then catches another. What is the probability that he caught a bluegill? So first he catches a bluegill and then a carp. All right, so we've got our 2 events. We're going to be multiplying bluegill times carp, right? 2 events, bluegill times carp. All right, so first things first, let's figure out how many total we have. 32 plus 49 plus 27 plus 12. All right, 32 plus 49 plus 27 plus 12, so that's 120 total fish. All right, so we're putting possible out of total. right? So total fish is 120. And then we're getting specific about the bluegill. So bluegill is 32. So then he is replacing that fish. Remember, this is a catch and release pond. So he catches that bluegill, but he puts that bluegill back. So we still have, once he catches that carp, we still have 120 fish in that pond because he put that fish back. And then we're going to look at how many carp, and he's got 12 carp. All right, so you're going to finish that problem by multiplying straight across and then reducing to get your probability. All right, so let's take a look at number 7. Jacob's piggy bank has 18 quarters, 20 dimes, 24 nickels, and 43 pennies. He chooses a coin, does not replace it. So this is really important. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Does not replace it. So we're going to be doing that dependent, right? These are dependent for this one. Dependent. And then chooses another one. What's the probability that he chooses a dime? So that's event 1. And then a nickel. That's event 2. Okay? So we are multiplying dime times nickel. That's our probability. Dime times nickel. So we're going to put our possible over our total. All right, so let's start out, remember, by figuring out our total. So we have 18 quarters plus 20 dimes plus 24 nickels plus 43 pennies. Add those up and come up with a total. All right, so we have 105 total coins. Okay, so our total coins when we're pulling a dime is 105 coins. And then he's going to choose that dime. So how many dimes did we have? 20 dimes. All right, but let's remember, he is not going to replace, okay? So now instead, when we're pulling our nickel, instead of 105 coins, if he didn't replace that dime, we now only have 104 coins. All right, so now we're looking at our nickels, and we have 24 nickels. So losing a dime doesn't change the nickels because it wasn't a nickel that he pulled originally, right? But it does change the total. All right, so go ahead, multiply those straight across and reduce to find your probability. And our next one. A fruit basket contains 9 apples, 3 bananas, 7 oranges, 5 pears, and 1 grapefruit. Kyle randomly chooses a fruit, does not replace it, and then chooses another. So what's the probability that he chooses, 2 pears? All right, so guys, our probability for this one is going to be finding the probability of a pear times a pear. All right, and so we're always putting our possible over our total. All right. So let's start by finding our total. So we've got 9 apples plus 3 bananas plus 7 oranges plus 5 pears plus 1 grapefruit. All right, so when we add up all those fruits together, we get 25 total fruits in that basket. So for our first probability of pulling a pear out of that fruit basket, we have 25 total pieces of fruit, and the number of pears is 5. All right, but now we eat that pear. We don't put it back in the fruit basket, right? The pear is gone. We've eaten it. So now when we go to pull a second pear from the fruit basket, there are only 24 total pieces of fruit, and there are 4 pears because we've taken one of those pears away. All right, go ahead, reduce or multiply, and then reduce to find your probability. All right, and in our last 2 problems, let's get these 2 set up. So a chorus has 50 girls and 35 boys. If 2 are chosen at random to sing a duet, what is the probability that both will be boys? All right, so both will be boys, right? We're looking for both being boys. So we want to figure out the probability of having a boy chosen times a boy chosen, right? And so we're going to figure out our possible over our total for both of these. So that means we need to figure out our total. So 50 girls plus 35 boys is going to equal 85. So for our first time choosing, we've got 85 total kids in the chorus, right? Total boys and girls. And then we're looking to see the probability of choosing a boy for that first round. Well, 35, right? There are 35 boys, so it's possible, there's a possible 35 boys out of the total 85 kids. All right, now that boy has already been chosen, right? So let's say it's this guy right here. So he's already chosen. So that means we're down to only 84 kids to choose from. And for choosing a second boy, there are only 34 boys remaining. All right, go ahead, multiply those straight across. Find your probability. All right, this is our last one. So if you're feeling confident, then I want you to solve it on your own, right? Figure it out. The only thing I'm going to remind you of for this one is that these are 3 dozen. So not just 3, but 3 dozen. And remember, 1 dozen equals 12. So for each of these, we have to multiply, like 1 dozen is 12 cookies. 2 dozen is 24 cookies, and so 3 dozen, make sure I don't mix that up, is 36 cookies. All right, so we've got 36 chocolate chip, 12 dozen peanut butter, and 12 peanut butter, and 24 oatmeal raisin. So go ahead, add your totals up, 36 plus 12 plus 24. And we would get 72 total cookies. So find the probability that Miss Kirby eats a chocolate chip cookie, my favorite. Obviously, I don't replace it, because I'm going to eat it. I don't leave cookies uneaten. And then a peanut butter cookie. All right, so we have 2 events. We have chocolate chip times peanut butter. Okay. As always, we're going to do our possible over our total. So please go ahead. I want you to do this on your own. Now that you know how many cookies you have, right, and you have your total, I want you to set up this proportion and then find your probability. Once you're finished with all of your work, you're finding the probability for all of these. We've set them up. Now you solve to find the probability. Submit your final problems.